Lindsay Hunter is a writer living in Chicago, although she is Orlando to the core. Having attended Ocoee Elementary, Robbinswood Middle School, West Orange and Dr. Phillips, and UCF. She is the author of the story collections Daddies and Don't Kiss Me. Her novel is forthcoming on FSG Originals in the fall of 2014. You can find more about her at lindsayhunter.com. Please welcome Lindsay Hunter.
I like to get up close to the microphone. This is a huge thrill for me to come back and read in Orlando. There's so much yearning that I had as a young writer here. So many terrible stories and poems that I wrote here. And so many people, so many writers here that I admire so much, that I want to impress so much, like Nathan and Terry Thaxton and my friend Margaret Minks and my sister-in-law Brittany and Michael Posis. But if I think really hard about sort of the genesis of me becoming a writer, it has to do with my sister Adrienne, who's right over there filming me. She always wrote when we were younger, and I thought that was the coolest thing, and I always really wanted to impress her. So, Adrienne, I hope I impress you tonight. If not, shut the fuck up. I think I'm just gonna read till it feels like you guys are bored. So that's probably 7 to 8 minutes. I'm going to start with a story called After. After the apocalypse, which stopped being a shock to the system after you saw them mall walkers being vaporized over by the P.F. Chang's that you used to eat with your mama at every birthday, idiots pumping their elbows like the sun wasn't an oozing boil, one of them a hawk-faced sculpture of bone before the rapture, so the pile of ash was an improvement, and why he was so angry at these ladies you didn't quite know, but it just seemed retarded, caring about your physical fitness while nearby 4 crows picked at a half lady's crotch. But anyway, after you crawled out the basement and your mama made you eat can for every meal, after your brother's eye just one day burbled and dripped out the socket in yolky clumps that he wiped off with his shirt hem, after you found yourself prizing your goobers like the pig to the truffle, the moist dark ones you imagine having the most nutrients, after your daddy stopped wearing pants and you stopped feeling alarmed at his swinging wrinkled scrotum, after you watched your daddy's pimpled butt cheeks rumble with fart while he was staring dumbfounded out the window, formulating a plan, he said, after your daddy took off besocked but bare-assed on your brother's bicycle, your mama making like to run after him but then shrugging and scratching herself, which is what she started to do after it was clear there wasn't no help coming, no tanks, no army man, no superhero, no angel, no wizard, no God, no God. Your mama took to scratching herself. Your brother took to rubbing himself through his gym shorts, both of them in a daze. These were comforts. After you saw the neighbor lady wave to you from the roof and then throw herself off, the body snapping when the rope caught and then blam, it crashed through the front room window. After your mama had you and your brother cut her down and your mama said, she always kept them flowers tidy. And your brother said, she had sweet titties for an old lady. After your brother filleted the neighbor lady and you roasted her upper arms over a trash fire and salted them with dirt and had a regular chow down, and then the next night you ate her inner thighs, which to you tasted like buttered rubber. After your brother tied one of the neighbor lady's breasts over his no-eye till it was green and shriveled. After a priest came to the house asking could we smother him or punch him in the throat till he was dead, or he don't know, stomp his head into a pudding, he couldn't do it himself. After your mama sent him down the road to the Circle K where that could be arranged. After you thought about having relations with that priest before he died because you never had and you couldn't with your brother, what with that eye. After you nearly said it, but then your daddy's privates flashed across your brain, that arid peach fuzz, the desert of a nutsack, that shriveled, defeated wiener, and you let the priest walk on. After you watched your brother's baseball coach come down the road and stop to take a bite out his own arm, screaming and chewing, after your brother said, he always was a fucking pussy. Your brother rubbing himself, them gym shorts no bigger than a pair of undies now, all shredded and shitted because your brother just went wherever he was, and why not? Once you nearly ate a plump turd that toppled out his shorts into the dirt because it looked just enough like a juicy sausage link and because you knew it'd be nice and hot. After you woke up and saw a bald-headed lady riding your brother's bicycle, your daddy riding the handlebars, you knew it was him because his ass was out. After you didn't tell no one because that was the point. After your brother lodged an old marble he found in the neighbor's yard in his empty eye socket. After he complained it itched his brain, said he was like to dig your mama's eye out and use it for his own because she don't do nothing with it anyway. Old curdled cow. He always was embarrassed by your mama's cellulite problems, which persisted unchecked despite there wasn't no junk food to gnaw on. After you told him that wasn't respectful. After you had a dream a mouth with a burger tongue and onion teeth was eating you. After a woman in an ashy pink suit came to the door trying to sell a tin of blusher. After your brother said he'd give her a nickel for it. After you saw your brother and the woman humping against the side of the garage, your mama not 10 yards away in a lawn chair, ash fluttering down on it all like the opposite of snow. After you asked after the blusher and your brother said, oh yeah, but didn't hand it over. After a fire came and you saw a pack of dogs outrun it. After your mama decided to live in the shower. After your brother started eating gravel, swallowing each pebble like a difficult but necessary pill. After your brother malleted the rest of the roof off because he was bored. After you agreed boredom was the worst, far beyond the hunger and the fear and the fat chewed up gumwad that your ear had become. After you woke to your brother curled up around a tattered stuffed elephant you didn't know he had. After he muttered, eat your boob meat, in his sleep. After you heard it before you saw it. After you thought maybe your brother wasn't asleep. Maybe it was a lit fart. After that second white sting. After that clap of light. After. Hey! I felt guilty reading that, so I'm going to read another one called Me and Jen. Me and Jen play lips. This is a game where you see how long you can touch lips before you need to scream. Jen always the one screaming first. I guess not always. Sometimes I scream first because I don't want to seem like no weird lips lover. Me and Jen's both girls, see. Me and Jen go over each other's houses, mostly hers though, because my daddy don't like wearing shirts always, and Jen says he got flappy baby boobs, and when I tell daddy this, he cups what he got and says, that bitch just can't handle her fiery attraction. And I laugh because it seems like the right thing to do, and daddy digs out the last of the skull and places it tenderly. Me and Jen decided it ain't cool to call each other bitch. I nod and nod at her. I want her to know I agree, but inside I am forlorn. I will have to find another word that sounds so powerful. Bitch like a bull stamping its hooves. Bitch like a broom after a crow. Me and Jen got to agree on things because she's my first friend and I gotta hold on tight. Me and Jen like to play preacher and supplicant. Jen is always the preacher and I am always the supplicant. Jen saying, you a fearful sinner, young lady, and me heaving my shoulders begging, please. I never say what I'm pleasing for, just please, please. Sometimes Jen slaps me in the head and I fall and wriggle watching the pink blades of her ceiling fan with my boggled eyes. I am consumed with the power of her touch. At least I think that's what I'm doing. Other times Jen will say, all right, because that means she's done and I need to be done too. Me and Jen hold hands in the movies, practicing till a fat lady sits in our row. Me and Jen had a fight once when I came upon her sitting on my brother's bed like she does on mine, and my brother just tiddling with his football poke arm sticking out his muscle shirt like creamy bone. Jen and my brother talking like they was afraid of the sound, and me wanting to say, hold up, this is mine, and this is mine. I almost said it, but I didn't, because no one likes to be claimed. Instead I said, guess I'll go to the bathroom now, and I did, and I looked at my face in the mirror so long I got so I couldn't recognize it. Me and Jen made up, and she let me wear her hair clip for the afternoon. Me and Jen like to ride our bikes out to the Circle K. I get Jen a Faygo and me a Yoo-Hoo, and this one time at the last second I add a 6-pack of light bulbs, a treat for Jen. She don't know what joy she's in for. We ride a few blocks and then I say, okay Jen, time to stop. Then I show her what I mean. I get me a light bulb and place it on the ground and then I whomp on it with both feet. The sound, the God-loving crunch. Now you, I tell Jen, but she ain't smiling like I am, and she don't take the light bulb from my hand. Have fun cleaning that up, Jen says, and goes after her kickstand with a fury that makes her miss it the first try. I didn't mean to, I call after her, because this is what you're supposed to say in an apology situation, but Jen don't look back. But see, I did mean to, how could I not? Me and Jen decide she is right. We are too old and feminine for stomping anything into dust. Jen's mama makes us graham crackers and butter. Jen licking the butter off with the tip of her tongue. I say, no thanks, I ate a healthy lunch, which is a lie. Me and Jen talk about what we're going to wear the first day of school. I pretend to think about it and say, I believe I will wear my jean shorts and a t-shirt. I don't have no other options because Daddy says we gotta make do with what we have, lest clothes rain from the sky, that is, and that is A-okay by me. I like my shorts. But Jen is disappointed, her face a curdled pie, so I add, and some cherry lip chap, and this does the trick. Me and Jen, that is fun to say, it is right, it is a joyful clump of words. Me and Jen is forever, we planets, everything outside us, all but a darkness. Me and Jen say we best get the same classes or else, because we is best friends and nothing can change that. I say, yep, we blood brothers, because it is nighttime and I'm in my sleeping bag on her floor and it is like the night sky burbling stars is inside me. And Jen says, we ain't boys and we don't mess with blood and this is a disappointment, but I let it pass. I pretend to sleep. I don't tell Jen how our blood glitters, how we half light. I keep all that to myself. Wait, what?
We were wondering if you can shut up. He wants a request.
Oh.
No, we'll let you get through your set.
You're asking me if I should ask if there are requests?
Oh, no, if we can just shout.
Oh, sure.
No, when we get through your set, we'll shout out.
Oh, okay. My set. I'm gonna get through my set. I'm gonna read like. We're at like a dance, we're like wearing these new tops, we put lipstick all around our mouths, we feel jealous of each other's mouth, but like that isn't cool, so we keep it to ourselves. We don't want to dance with anything chubby because it's like dancing with our stepdads or dancing with some like weird baby grizzly boy. We're like, yuck. We want to dance with anything that plays golf or like football. Anything that that might like play the savior in a movie or like a TV show or like the killer. We wouldn't mind being like bladed. Some of us don't have titties, but some of us do, and it is hard to be like happy about it. The other day we felt each other's chests in the locker room, like some of us got called ant bite and some of us got called pudding piles. Some of us agreed that like pudding piles are just fat, just floppy mounds of gross fat, and it's like do some push-ups. But then later we were all thinking how it'd be okay to have some fat because then your like top would look better and like maybe the quarterback would ask you to get in his car. Some of us felt more than each other's chests in the locker room, but like whatever, it's the locker room. Some of us get all burned up in the locker room. We like watching. Like thinking about being in some guy's car could happen at any time, and like a lot of the time it happens in the locker room. Some of us have like been in that car. Some of us like have like bite marks, and we love how they're like rainbows, purple, green, yellow, gone. Some of us bite ourselves because like whatever. At this dance, we pretend that our arrows pointing out each ant bite or pudding pile right at like the savory boys. This helps with our posture, and also it's like you come. We're like always imagining what like the best night would be, and it's like someone took a poker and stirred up our embers and like whoosh. We're all of us like our own flame. It's like you come and bring that poker. We can like taste it. Some of us are thinking bratwurst, like how our stepdads cook sometimes, all cooked and like firm and ready to be eaten and like the juices. Some of us know better because we've been in that car. Like there's no platter, there's no like small bites. There's no stopping when you get full. We're at this dance and some of us keep going to the bathroom to sip out of this bottle of like iced tea, but like it's only half iced tea and like the other half is rum. We throw our heads back to get it down. Our throats are jagged and it's like, who needs a poker? We take our shoes off and slouch in the bathroom and it's like, what a relief. And like we all see each other the way we are in the locker room and it's like we're just girls and like we hate each other for our hair and legs and titties and mouths and even like wrists. But we would never say that to each other because that's not how like you treat a friend. And we'll be friends forever, so like we hate each other until our hate turns into like love. Some of us have dreams that we're carrying the others of us on our shoulders because the others of us are like dead and boom, we drop the bodies into this big like fire and there goes the hair, there goes the eyelashes, there goes the like perfect Disney princess wrists, but the others of us probably have the same dream because like they want to watch our ankles and tans and thighs burn until we're just meat. So it's like we get each other. We put our shoes back on and point the arrows out again and like we're back in the gym waiting and we get pulled onto the dance floor and we like put our hands on our boys' necks and like some of us swirl our nails in our boys' hair and some of us are rewarded with like little denim or khaki animals, like little sea monkeys we make grow with like barely any work on our part. We pretend we don't know our hips are swiveling, or like some of us are short, so we have to really work our abs, and our boys hold us tight, and we smell their deodorant and cologne and sweat and like their essence under it all, which is like garlic and like dirt. And our boys probably think they are like doing it to us too, like we're like buckling and folding and melting, but that is like pretending that the stars in the sky are just the pearl buttons on our tops and skirts, just unfasten and zoom the heat of the universe of our like necks and titties, and the parts we spritz and oil the most as our boys to like have, like we're like theirs, but like it's us. We lie on our backs to watch the sky pearl to star. We are skin to bite, we are hair to flick, we are swish. We have the power, it's us. We say what we want, we say come, and we say here, and we say burn, and we say like. I feel like I should ask you what you want to hear.
I just thought of it and I said it to him. Oh, my boyfriend Dell.
Oh, okay. Nathan wants to hear my boyfriend Dell. So. All right, this is called My Boyfriend Dell. You got an eye booger, Dell tells me. I can't look at it, it's sick. You all gooey, a goober goo face. This he finds funny. He laughs loud, his mouth huge, all teeth but for where a ridged half tooth is working its way down in the front. I try but can't get a purchase on why it was so funny, but even so, I laugh too. I work out the eye booger with my fingertip and try to be demure when I wipe it on his mama's carpet. All the magazines say it's important to laugh together. Laughter is important in any successful relationship. I laugh until Dell gets distracted by his transformer and tells me in his transformer voice that it's time for me to die. I die over and over, wilting into the carpet. One time I wilt onto his laser gun and he tells me to quit being a stupid dummy. This hurts. I pretend I have to use the bathroom, I run the water, and cry a little. When I get back, Dell asks me, number 1 or number 2? But I don't answer. I never know how to answer that. Later, we drive to the Arby's for milkshakes. That's something any other woman might get agitated about, having to always be the one who drives, the one who pays. But I like that about me and Dell. He's content just being taken. You remember when we met? I ask him. He's playing with the radio, a preacher shouting, a woman moaning, an old hillbilly crooning the news, the weather, the traffic. Yeah, he says, you was in the library, same as me. He goes rigid, then a machine gun fart rat-a-tats out from him and he relaxes. Excuse me, he says. That's right, I say. We both like books about aliens. Isn't that something? This tastes like barf, Dell says, but he keeps drinking. We are quiet for a while, which is a relief because it can be difficult getting a 9-year-old to conversate. I drive around the parking lot into the next parking lot. Maybe we'll go into the store and look at Legos. Sometimes we do that. Sometimes Dell lets me take him to the ladies' clothes area so I can get his opinion on tops. This is boring, Dell says, and I get scared he's talking about us, so I rev the engine and pretend like I'm going to ram into an old woman with a shopping cart. Yeah, Dell screams, I want to see her guts. Back at his house, he asks if I want to play Princess Leia, and I am touched. I know he'd rather have her for a girlfriend than me. It'd be an honor, I tell him, and he hands me my lightsaber and then knocks it out of my hand with his. You're dead, cinnamon bun, dumb hair, he says, looking up at me through his bangs. My hand is throbbing from where his lightsaber hit. Again, I die for him. I shudder and quake and cry out and fall at his feet and die. Now I'm going to maybe spit in your hair. You don't know. Keep your fat eyes closed, he says. Okay, I whisper. Dinner, Dell's mom calls, and I stay dead, waiting for Dell to ask if I can stay and eat. But when I open my eyes a moment later, he says, you gotta go. I get up on my knees and hold my arms out. Dell lets me hold him. He smells like sweat and his mama's shampoo, herbal essences, the pink kind I checked. I squeeze him extra long because I can't get up the nerve to kiss his cheek. Maybe next time. I'll miss you. I say, let go, he says. You acting like a butthole ugly face. I pass his mama on the way out, standing at the stove in her house dress. You know I don't like you coming around so much. She isn't looking at me, just watching her own hand move the spoon around the pot. You a nice lady, but my son is 9 years old, and you are what? You are what? I want to say, I love your boy, Dell, but I never even said that to Dell yet, so I just leave it be. On the way home, I stop and buy a can of beefaroni. Me and Dell can have the same dinner, even if we ain't in the same place. Over the program I watch, I can hear Dell's mama saying, you are what? You are what? Dell has a new friend, this Simon child with glasses and a neon snot lip. He is over every afternoon now. The first time we meet, I offer him a tissue and he tells me I should use it to wipe the old off my face. We drive to the Arby's and Dell sits in the back seat with Simon. I watch Dell's face in the rear view. I wait for him to look at me, but he doesn't. When we get to the Arby's, I tell them I don't have no money, even though I have $14 in a roll in my purse. On you? I ask Dell. I am turned around with a jovial look on my face. This is an adventure, my face is saying. Dell says, huh? And Simon says, we ain't got a dime, lady. We ain't even double digits yet. On you? I ask again. Let's just wander the store, Dell says, and my middle flutters because I love when he is decisive. Hold my hand in the parking lot, I say to Dell, for safety. In the magazines, they talk about how important touch is, affection, showing instead of just telling. In high school, I held a boy's hand at a football game, the boy's hand rigid and cold in mine, the lights exploding around us and the air smelling like pizza and hot dogs and bubble gum. The boy got up to use the restroom and took his cup of 7-Up with him and did not return. Go on, I say to Dell, holding out my hand. Not a chance in heck, he says. He has recently learned to belch. The word heck comes out in a moist growl. In the store, Dell and Simon race to the drinking fountain. Simon gets a mouthful and gleeks it at my slack, says, oh hey, piss pants. Dell points and laughs. In the magazines, they say men are sometimes cruel because they are testing your emotional boundaries. I want Dell to know I am boundless. I am a universe. I grit out a smile and follow them to the toys. They arm themselves with swords and commence to stabbing me. Simon saying, lop off her titties. Simon saying, I wish these blades were real, and I wish you were dying like old ladies are supposed to. Dell chops me in half. A woman smiles at me, says, boys. I want to tell her Dell is my man. Tell her he is not a boy, but she is wearing a pink hair clip and a wooden necklace, and this convinces me she would not understand. In the video games aisle, I stand behind Dell as he and Simon shoot at homeless people and prostitutes. I wait while they throw basketballs at each other's crotch. I buy them hot dogs, and Simon says, I knew you was lying about the money. I wait outside the bathroom while they relieve themselves. Simon comes out and says Dell barfed up his hot dog. I don't know if this is true or not. In the recreation area, Simon and Dell spin the wheels of the hanging bikes and dare each other to stick their fingers in the spokes. I am desperate for Dell to look at me, for his gray eyes to meet mine. All I require is a single moment. It is all I need in the world. I could not go home to the bed and the walls and the single channel on the television and the white plate on the table and the drying tulip from Dell's mama's garden without my moment. And I know what the magazines say about jealousy being a powerful motivator when a man can't commit. I grab for Simon and push my lips onto his smell like mold and ketchup and dirt, his heart beating out his whole body, his lip cold and wet, the snot. I pull away and he is wiping his mouth and gagging, the snot smeared across his cheek now, a glistening wing, his glasses fogged, Simon saying, what? Dell emitting a high, whining, ew. All eyes fixed on me, marbles of horror. I back away. I turn and walk through the blender aisle, the baby clothes, all the lotions and powders and mints and magazines asking me questions about myself, me thinking, how should I know? Me wondering why they don't say nothing about a kiss being salty as a tear. I'm just going to read one more. And it's called 3 Things You Should Know About Peggy Paula. 1. In high school, Peggy Paula worked as a waitress at the Perkins. Night shifts were her favorite. Kids from her school would come in after games or dances with bleary eyes and messy hair, and Peggy Paula knew they'd been drinking and smoking. Those flimsy joints, she'd see them passing. The girls with smudged makeup and rat's nests in the back of their heads, proud, unblinking eyes, scanning the dining room like, I dare you. I dare you to guess what I just let Jared or Steve or Casey do to me. I let him, and I liked it, and I don't care. And Peggy Paula honored just to be near these girls, envious, taking their orders for French fries and ranch, keeping their secrets in the sticky lip gloss tubes they'd sometimes leave behind, watermelon and cherry and berry, and once a spicy cinnamon that burned Peggy Paula's lips for an hour. What kind of girl wanted burning lips, poison lips? Peggy Paula's heart pounding at the thought of such a girl, of the boy who went after such a girl in the backseat of his father's sedan, the girl stinging his lips, his neck, moving farther down, burning that boy up with her mouth. Peggy Paula going into the bathroom stall and wanting to touch herself, but not knowing where to begin, wanting to begin everywhere, standing with her fists clenched and and breathing hard, and then needing to be out from the stall and moving, and so going back to the dining room feeling every inch of her skin, her lips cherry red and raw when she saw her reflection in the toaster, and 3 weeks later asking the redheaded dishwasher to drive her home and directing him to the spot she knew those girls went to, her lips aflame when he pulled up, sliding over, the stick shift digging into her hip, putting her mouth on his freckled neck. It smelled like mashed potatoes and industrial soap and sweat, her hand first on his thigh and then crab crawling to his zipper. It was already hardening under there despite him saying, hey, what? And Peggy Paula saying, just please. And the dishwasher quiet after that, letting Peggy Paula, letting her, following her into the back seat, holding her tight when it happened, saying, I'm sorry, and Peggy Paula saying, shh, stinging his shoulders with her lips and his back with her nails and feeling filled up and afraid and like her heart could kick the windows out. 2. Peggy Paula has a kidney-shaped scar on her lower back from falling out an open window backward at a disco. She was there to meet men, but all the men at this disco seemed more interested in each other, though she couldn't be sure. She found a place by a window so she could see the men coming and going, moving her feet side to side. The disco just a warehouse with walls of windows and colored lights with roving beams, a purple light beam getting her right in the eyes, and Peggy Paula holding her clutch up and backing away from it and right out the window. The music so loud and the lights so frantic that nobody noticed. She fell into the dumpster, staring up at the dark, starless sky, her head nestling perfectly in the butt part of an old baby seat once it became clear she wouldn't be getting out on her own anytime soon. The DJ cycled through jive talking twice before she was finally found, Peggy Paula not being able to help singing along despite her numb toes, despite the smell of rotten apples and wet cardboard and pee. How was there pee in the dumpster? It seems real inconvenient, Peggy Paula was thinking, and I swear seconds later, she'd say, seconds later, a boy in a sequin robe thing stood on some milk crates so he could pee into the dumpster, his blonde head looking up, and Peggy Paula still singing to herself, so instead of screaming, hey, or stop, she screamed, tragedy! And the boy so startled that his pee shot out and piddled the empty TV box just to the left of Peggy Paula, and he couldn't stop, him apologizing, oh God, sorry, oh my God, lady, I'm sorry, my idiot dick, I can't stop, and Peggy Paula just waiting it out with her eyes closed, thinking how it smelled like warmed butter or buttered popcorn, something comforting like that, thinking it was kind of nice, kind of intimate, and suddenly feeling grateful for the whole night. The torturous application of blue eyeshadow, then green, then back to blue. The realization that her new dance move made her arm fat shudder like tapioca in the pot. The eye contact she made with the mustachioed man who squinted, getting her into a focus, then turned away. The crippling barbed loneliness that drove her out into the night and all the way to this disco. It was all worth it because it boiled down to this lovely private moment with a polite blonde boy who drove her to the hospital so she could get 14 stitches and an ankle brace, and on the drive home told Peggy Paula she had a pretty face, offered her a small white pill to take that made Peggy Paula long to be naked, and the blonde boy came in and lay on the couch with Peggy Paula, watching late-night television, moved closer and stroked her jaw, her nape, her arms, her thighs, even gently pulling her knees apart and moving the back of his hand softly, lovingly between her legs. Peggy Paula thinking, I am his pet. Thank God I'm his pet. Why are my clothes still on? And falling asleep during a rerun of Andy Griffith, waking up to find the blonde boy gone and her wallet and breath mints missing from her purse and a note that said, thank you, I'm sorry, thank you, you're special. Peggy Paula loves that kidney-shaped scar. 3. Peggy Paula was returning a video when she met a man she would love. He took the video from her like it was delicate and valuable, touching her wrist with his thumb and smiling. The man had a dimple in his chin and a wedding ring, that thumb on her wrist like she was his and he was making it known. And Peggy Paula had him over for pot roast and ice cream 2 nights later and lowered herself onto him so slowly that he cried out in frustration. Peggy Paula still stunned at this man before her, wondering how exactly it happened, and then when he grabbed her hips to move her the way he wanted, not wondering about anything at all. It went on this way for months, the man coming for dinner and Peggy Paula bathing and perfuming herself all day and wanting to pound the walls into dust with the waiting for him, telling him over and over how much she loved him, her mouth in his neck and her voice weak like it had been diluted. The man grunting approval and Peggy Paula breathing him in, the sour smell of video cleaner and his aftershave, and underneath it all the smell of his wife's rosewater perfume, the same Peggy Paula used. And one day the man didn't come, and he didn't come the next day, and the next day his wife came, and Peggy Paula remained calm, invited her in, and the woman also seemed calm, going into the kitchen, and Peggy Paula wondering if she felt comfortable enough to get herself something to sip, and the woman coming out with Peggy Paula's bread knife held high in her fist and making a horrible sound with her mouth. Then Peggy Paula realized the woman was sobbing with her mouth wide open, and her heart broke for the woman, even as she lunged. Peggy Paula, wanting to show the woman how a bread knife doesn't have a point, is only good for sawing things, not stabbing really. But instead, she moved out of the way, and the woman tripped on the carpeting and stumbled toward the couch, the sobbing noise getting louder. And then the man rushed in and batted the knife out of his wife's hands, picked her up, and carried her out of there, his eyes cutting over to Peggy Paula like it was her with the knife. Her with the animal noises that wouldn't stop, and Peggy Paula so stunned that she couldn't cry, couldn't feel, and maybe that's why she let the man in 2 nights later, had to see his eyes, had to feel again, and she kept letting the man in. She kept letting the man, his smell, the hair on his chest, the delicate skin above his pelvis, the muscles in his thighs, his calloused hands, the shapes of his toes, the gold in his eyes, the missing molar, the mole on his back, the heart in his chest, the breaths in and out. He was alive, he was another, he was a man, and Peggy Paula let him. She let him. Because if no one is there to touch you, are you even really there? Thank you guys so much.